comet, you could see Mars, and you could see the halo around Mars. So Mars literally went comet. And now I've been waiting for other photos to come in, and I've got some connections, I won't say where, but nobody seems to be able to get any photos to me that are after the 29th of September. Or the 28th was the latest professional level photos that I have been able to get my hands on, the 28th of September. And that is before it developed the sunward spike. It was green, and that's before it really connected where Mars became a comet. It developed the comet Comet, a slight haze around the planet Mars. And so it appears that the chemicals in the comet tail are carbon monoxide, CO. Arsenic is also another element that can turn green when it fluoresces. And by the way, in reading some of the characteristic colors in green, these are colors that develop around arc welding. When you have a carbon rod and you're arc welding and it's actually a greenish light, it takes a high arc welding level of electrical current to produce that color. So isn't that interesting? That the color of the comet is the same as the color of arc welding. So Comet Ison affecting the planet Mars to go comet. So there had to be probably a mild, very slight influx of material into the planet Mars. And of course, the Mars rovers, would they be able to detect this? I would say what they would be able to detect would be the auroras. Now, there's got to be, let's fast forward up to the Hubble Space Telescope just to give you an idea of the detail that would be available from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter and the Mars landers. Now, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has been able to pick up dust devils on Mars and to take pictures of them, very, very clear pictures of large-scale cyclonic activity on the planet Mars. The Hubble Space Telescope has the ability also to focus on Mars and get pristine, absolutely perfect pictures of the Martian atmosphere. So all of this data regarding the auroras on Mars as Comet Ison passes, clearly NASA has all this data in full living color and all the various wavelengths to see the electrical interaction of the comet with Mars. But once again, you as the public who's paying for all this will never see a shred of that data. Now, where is Comet Ison today? We're on the 4th. Comet Ison has moved in front of the planet Mars. I personally did not have good viewing conditions this morning. It was complete cloud over, so I didn't get a chance to post this. Now, you may be wondering why I'm not posting my own data on my webpage, and that's because in science you need second and third corroborating evidence. And so and this is what's happened in the past. Remember when Courtney Brown and Chuck Schrammick printed photos on the Art Bell webpage? And NASA came in and fudged photos to say that the photos that Art Bell was posting were faked. You have to be careful about posting data. And you have to have willing counterparts that have taken good data to put their name on it from, say, other part of the world and say, yes, this is good data. Because if not, you run the risk of being running the humility machine of NASA. Remember that professional astronomers, Ollie Highnout and crew, Hal Weaver of the observatory in Hawaii, were the ones that faked the photos of Hale-Bopp, removing the companion from their photos and publishing it in the newspapers, slamming the pictures that were printed by Art Bell. We later discovered what they had done and made it public. And remember, I gave a many lecture series on this entire epic of Hale-Bopp. At the Hale-Bopp Canary Island Conference, the very first topic on the venue was the companion of Hale-Bopp. And they talked about it openly and the data that was taken. Yet in the newspapers, it was denied that Hale-Bopp had a companion. This is the way science is done today. It's so bizarre. I mean, these people are professional liars. So the point, coming back to Comet Ison, is my name is being drugged through the mud out there, and they're searching desperately for any shred of some type of activity that would incriminate me or try and use to incriminate me. Okay, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit here now and talk about the solar flare that came off of the sun a number of days ago. It actually, that same morning of October 3rd, the night of October 2nd, the morning of October 3rd, we had auroras, low-latitude auroras, and they were red. These are the powerful ones. These are the auroras that really, when they drop down in latitude, they are much more, there's more energy involved, let me put it that way. But I personally observed these, and they were acting very, very strangely. I have seen auroras for my whole life. Lived in northern latitudes. I've seen them in the south. I am a very well-groomed, seasoned observer of auroras. And I have never seen anything quite like these auroras. They were splotchy. They were like a comet, although, by the way, I want to make it clear, this is not related to Comet Ison affecting Earth directly. What this is related to is as that pulse, that electric EMP, you might call it, pulse, between Comet Ison and the planet Mars occurred, the sun kicked out a double CME, a very powerful CME. Wasn't the most powerful in the world, but it was very much Earth-directed. And we had some very good auroras. And like I say, the red auroras were viewed in New Zealand and other low latitude in the United States, in the mainland United States. But they were kind of like a circle of light up in the sky, and then a long, kind of almost like a comet-looking streamer, and then these would slowly move together and merge and become one big ball, so to speak, of light. And that's kind of the way these looked, and I've never quite seen anything like this before. It did not have the traditional aurora-looking type of effects like the curtain or the dome, the rays shooting up towards the dome. Did not have any of those traditional aurora-looking effects. It looked very different, and to me it looked, auroras are very beautiful, but this one looked to me very strange. That's the only word I can tack onto it, very, very strange. So Comet Ison, action at a distance, but this tells me that when Ison gets up behind Mercury, we are going to see some fireworks, and this is going to be so clearly visible in the early morning sky. Like I say, moonless, no moon effect at all. It's going to be for the whole world to see, and to see the little planet Mercury going comet. Now, when I observed Mars going comet, I had good equipment. I have actually a big set of binoculars that I use to observe Mars and the comets, and it's much better than a telescope because it draws in so much light and it uses both eyes. It's stereoscopic. And so it's a very bright field of view. Let me give an example. In fact, as part of my observing program, to observe other objects like the Orion Nebula. I have rarely seen the Orion Nebula visually with my eyes so clear with all of the colors in it, which tells me that my Mars observation was very clear. I observed Jupiter with its moons. And Jupiter, by the way, one might think, well, maybe there was some haze on my lens, maybe there was atmospheric conditions. I observed this for hours and hours in the morning sky, early morning sky, pre-dawn sky, very pristine dark conditions. The moon had not risen yet when I first started observing, and the moon was just a small crescent, and so it was really not a factor in observing at all. But it was, the moon had not really come up when I started my observation, seeing Mars as a comet. And then I looked at other objects, Sirius, the star. I looked at many other bright stars to see if I could see any halo effect in my equipment, and there was none. Mars was the only, excuse me, Mars was the only object in the sky that produced the halo effect, and of course Comet Ison, out in front of it, was also a comet. It's a typical comet self. So part of my observing program was to not only observe the comet and Mars, but observe many other objects in the sky to make sure my equipment was not faulty, to make sure there was not haze on the lenses, to make sure there was not an effect like internal reflections in the equipment. And I viewed with two different sets of binoculars, slightly smaller 10-power binocular. The ones I was actually looking at Mars as a comet, the good binoculars, are 25 power. They're big, heavy binoculars. They weigh about 10 pounds. They sit on a tripod, so it's very stable. And like I said, I had literally hours of observing time. And then I observed many other objects to verify that there was no internal issues with my equipment. And so taking pictures with telescopes, for example, my telescope, is very difficult. It's very difficult to get the images correct. There's many other effects with a telescope that affect the quality of the picture, etc.